What is up, everyone? This is the Go Political chat discussion live stream talking about the presidential poll on the Go Political community tab. So we are going to have some fun today looking at all of the crazy comments and the interesting discussions that go on when I post the weekly Go Political poll. So it's good to see John QQ in the house.
Yay!
Grandpa Leroy is here.
Yay!
And as you come in, I want you to check in and tell me who you are. All right, so we're going to get into the action and jump on over to the poll page, and then we'll come back here to this lovely new artwork. Hopefully you like my new political artwork here that will be featured when we have political discussions. Okay, so we're going to run through these ridiculous comments and talk all about it, and then we'll come back here and wrap it up and call it a day. All right, now as I flip over to the page, let's just go straight to the section where we've got the poll. All right, let's move it on here, and here we are on the poll. So we're going to talk about this poll, and then we're going to read through the comments, and I'm promising you folks, this is going to be good. All right, cut the music. So let's click through and let's just talk about the current results, which is changing from week to week. And so today, we've got 439 votes cast. Last week, we did break a record, and we had, I believe it was over 1,100 votes. And so in comparison between this poll and the last poll, Donald Trump was ahead at 69%. And I think Kamala Harris was somewhere around 24%, give or take just a few. This week's poll with 439 people casting their vote. In fact, let's just do a quick refresh and see what the new number is. We have 457 votes. So Kamala Harris is bringing in 17%. Donald Trump is drawing 72%. So still looking strong. Let me flip my... There we go. I got to change my sound box so I can have all of my good sounds. I don't know why that it is flipping off my setting. Please stay on the... Wow. This thing is bugging out, guys. I don't know what is going on. Let me try this one more time. There we go. Go political setting. We'll just leave it there in the background. All right. Now it's all set up and we can go into the crazy comments. All right. Scrolling on down, let's just read the summary that I gave. Let's take a look at the summary. We need to discuss this because there was some crazy stuff that went on this time. Some people that I don't have a clue as to what is going on in the minds of certain people, but you might find this interesting. Ron G is in the house. What is up, Ron?
Yay!
Okay, so let's just read through how I had to start this out. And then I'll tell you why I had to do this, because we've been having craziness in the comments. Every time I post a presidential poll where people get triggered and upset because they don't like to look at the results. So here's what I said. A lot has transpired since last week. We have now seen the vice president in her first interview. That was a good thing. We saw CNN lambasting Donald Trump for politicizing a visit to a cemetery where they say he committed a federal crime. And then we saw families, the parents of the Gold Star families, standing up to testify that they actually invited Donald Trump. Okay, we had that situation where Kamala Harris posted on X, lambasting the president. And that kind of did not work out very well. We have seen one candidate claim that the other candidate is too chicken to debate, while the other candidate was saying otherwise. We still see certain news personalities and politicians reporting on stories that have long since been debunked by Snopes. And we even watched in horror as a South American gang took over an apartment complex out west in Colorado as the immigration argument rages on. The question is, have any of these events changed the sentiment since a week ago? What will happen nationally? What will happen within the Go political community? Cast your vote now and let's see. Now, this is where it gets interesting. So I put this little PS in there. I said, don't get triggered and post something psychotic in the comments that will expose your intelligence level. Show that you can read simple rules and abide by them. Thoughtful and intelligent comments only. No trolling, no insults, no cursing, no false allegations, as Tiffany Henyard says. No name calling, no frothing at the mouth crazed tirades allowed. Now, do you think people really abide by that? And if you can't at least act like you're intelligent, don't bother posting a comment. Now comes the fun part, because I'm going to show you what went on in the comments after I gave clear instructions for the crazy folks to stay away. Now let's sort the comments and put top comments on. And we're going to start by this interesting conversation with Zeth Loveless. Now this was an interesting one, and then we'll go on to some other ridiculous comments. Now I'm going to have to put some background music on to keep everybody calm, because people start getting crazy and get all triggered and ridiculous. So to help everyone remain calm, please enjoy this peaceful, calm, and soothing jazz music in the background. I'll put it on loop so it keeps a nice, peaceful atmosphere as I read through the ridiculous conversations. Okay, so here we are. Zeth Loveless 7238 said, Harris easily. Don is a proven con artist. So I thought, well, let's, engage him a little bit. I said, well, thanks for voicing your opinion, Zeth. Left it at that. I just want to let people know that I allow other opinions that I might disagree with. I'm not going to censor anyone. Zeth comes back and says, I live in a cult of Trump world, and I'm a lifelong registered Republican. This is no longer the party I grew up with, headed backwards instead of forwards. Now, immediately in my mind, I start thinking of Kamala Harris, because that's a statement she makes on the daily. We got to go forwards and not backwards, even though that kind of is a statement against herself, because the backwards was her and President Joe Biden for the last 3.5 years. I digress. I tell him, well, that certainly has to be frustrating. I feel his pain. What changes trouble you the most? I want to know what these changes were. I go on to say that I was a lifelong Democrat myself. I'm still good with certain Democrats like Tulsi Gabbard, who is my favorite, and former Democrat Robert F. Kennedy. I'm liberal on certain things. I'm conservative on other things. I could have gotten behind a Tulsi Gabbard ticket if she was the nominee on the Democratic side. I don't so much like the neocon Republicans, the ones that are connected to the war machine. But I like Trump, though, because he is hated by the neocon Republicans. I should say deep state Republicans. And he won't bow down to BlackRock and the defense contractors. So Zeth comes back and says, that was quite the funny read. I expected no less. So right off the bat, here we go. Here come the insults. He can't keep it nice. Sorry, I can't take people who back criminals seriously. Around these parts, Trumpers don't even like your kind. Oh, that's not good, man. That ain't good. It's actually sort of strange to me. Let's hope one day actual justice prevails and the conspiracy theorists, crazies, can ride off into the sunset. So I come back and I say, yeah, bro, you lost me. I was just going to thank you for the respectful conversation on the things that we disagree on, but you showed your true colors. Oh, and I guess you can't vote for Kamala then, since, of course, he says that he can't vote for people that, what did he say, that are con artists. We know that Kamala is also a con artist, flip-flopping on everything from taxation to fracking. Oh, you name it. Well, anyway, I go on to say actual justice. Well, that's a good one. I guess that's the version that exists in your mind and not mine. Mine, rather. And what is the your kind remark referring to? Okay, your kind. Would that be educated men who are leaders, business owners, football fans, or what? Or are you a racist? The only people I ever hear use the term your kind are the redneck racists I had to endure back in the 70s, growing up in a town that only had 4 black families. Same thing holds true of those who say, around these parts. I heard that all the time from the racist rednecks. You can't be saying stuff like that to a black man, brother. That ain't gonna fly. It makes you immediately sound like a bigot. So I guess Zeth must have posted something that got removed by YouTube because I never got to see it. And then his next post was, you have zero clue as to what I said, and it seems my retort was deleted. So Caroline jumped in, defending me. Thank you, Caroline.
Yay!
Who always has my back. And she made it clear that we don't delete comments on this channel, and I include everyone. So thank you for that. And then we go on. Zeth comes back against Caroline, and says,
Didn't you hear me? I'm a Republican. And yes, my comment was deleted. I'm not going to bother commenting on a long post again. And Carlton was wrong in his last post. Took it totally wrong. Really now? I don't expect too much from people who openly support criminals, though. Either way, my comments disappeared. YouTube is also good for doing it to everyone. Pretty sad you think that I'm a leftist when I'm a lifelong Republican, but I guess it's easier for you to spout nonsense. Well, see, there again, insults. Now I'm spouting nonsense. See, this is the kind of dangling talk that I try to warn people not to engage in. But you know what? People are hard-headed. They don't listen. All right, well, let's continue on. So I said, to the contrary, I have penned the whole conversation so everyone could see what you said. Then Zeth says, I believe my last real response was flagged by YouTube itself. They have been shadow deleting comments, not you then. I'm not gonna type all that out again. Enjoy your day, Carlton, love sign. Also, by the way, I'm no bigot. I was merely talking about the Trumpers I personally deal with. I'm a mixed race family. Well, hats off to you. That was great. I forgot to hit the like button on that. I will say that I thank Ryan Wellman. He says to me, you handled this back and forth with absolute class, brother. Thank you for that. I give Ryan a hand. Thank you, Ryan. I appreciate that. So, Zeth, I come back and say, at length, I'm sorry I didn't see your post, and I'm sorry that YouTube may have removed it. It's frustrating, that's for sure. But the bots scrape the comments without human eyes. And I've had this happen numerous times to myself. But anyhow, people may misunderstand you when you claim you're a Republican, while some of what you say sounds very similar to those who have leftist views. In other words, I don't believe you're a Republican. Rather than stating your claim to a political party, it might be better if you speak on your values, your policies, and your beliefs. Why can't people understand that? I'm encouraging everyone
against the ridiculous, immature comments and responses, and I'm encouraging you to speak on values, policies, and beliefs. I go on to say my beliefs don't fall into one party. It's why I don't claim a party, which is just a political instrument for fundraising. I don't take the Trump convictions for face value after doing a deep dive into each case. It is my belief that none of the felonies are valid. None. What I found is that all of the prosecutors, the attorneys, even the jurors, they're all hardline party members. Liberty was taken in each case to rapidly produce a decision while evidence was lacking, and strong evidence to the contrary was not considered. Wrongful convictions happen all the time, and these cases are textbook examples. Rather than labeling someone a felon or a crook based on a politically polarized prosecution and jury, I look at the evidence. What is clear to me is that each one of these cases are legal lawfare. They're not justice. It's just an opinion, but based on thoroughly studying the cases. When you have a Democrat judge, a Democrat prosecutor, and an all-Democrat jury, what do you think the outcome is going to be? That's a big red flag. I'll get to that more on a future video. Now, I move on to make another couple of good points. I don't have any experience with racist Trump supporters. Sorry if you have. On my end, I'm in the good company of many black Americans who are in support of Trump. I just have completely different experience. But when you are making comments to a black person the way you did, it can be taken the wrong way. Now, I won't brand you as a bigot. All I can do is suggest that you don't use that type of language so you don't be misunderstood. In the past, I've had white liberals that use that same argument as if to scare me out of voting for Donald Trump. And I see that as a control tactic. I don't get swayed by those who try to scare me in the same way that the bigots used to back in the early years, growing up in the country in the 70s. Truthfully speaking, there are Republican bigots and there are Democrat bigots. It does not matter who it's coming from. Using fear tactics based on bigotry to scare me out of my right to support who I want is old school bigotry in and of itself. Don't get caught up in it. I wouldn't want you or anyone else to get the false impression that you're influencing a black person's mindset based on an old fear trigger. You're in a mixed race family, and that's wonderful. That means you're above all that, of course. We can still discuss things with the goal of truly understanding one another's standpoints. I'm happy with you being here. I do, however, have to steer people away from emotionally charged arguments and try to keep the focus on issues and policies. That way we actually accomplish something positive and we don't come to agreement, even if we don't come to agreement on certain issues. That was my answer. Okay, so wow, it's kind of interesting. Let's go on to the next few that got my attention. All right, scrolling on down. I like T-Lock. He says, I'm with the felon. Totally agree with that. Now, here's an interesting one. This Karma 2.034 says Trump 2024, and I say we're on the same page. But it's interesting what happens next. He jumps on Dee Dee Higginbottom, who is a great member, a great fan of the channel. Okay, he removed it because he said something about don't listen to this far left-wing puke, something communist, blah, blah, blah. This channel's a joke. He obviously doesn't work on his following, something about having 7,000 followers, no work, on and on and on. And I'm like, scratching my head. I'm like, what's going on here? And then he showed up again and may have deleted. I think he might have deleted. Yeah, he did. He deleted his comments. Let's double check here and let's click on this again. I figured it was a big misunderstanding because he was like going bananas on me for being a far left-wing socialist puke something. I mean, it was just nasty. Just going on and on and on. Here it is. Gotta love this guy's 7.8 thousand subs. What a joke. I'm like, why is that a joke? So Monty Morris comes back and says, go sit down and drink a glass of cool water, maybe? And so then Karma comes back, sounds like what this guy has been doing. He certainly hasn't been working on growing this channel. What a joke. Okay. So then MN Razorback comes back and says, why do you care how many subs this channel has or if he has been growing them? The number of subs has no bearing on the truthfulness or the incisiveness of his analysis. Excellent. Let me give that a round of applause. That was a good comment. So then I come back and say, I think there's a little confusion here. I think Karma Chu is actually a fan of the channel. Was this by mistake? And then I go on to say I'm actually a conservative. I support Trump and blah, blah, blah. And I think maybe Karma deleted some of his comments. But even if you're a conservative Republican, calling people socialist, leftist, puke, and all that, that's a little extreme, and I'm not going to allow that. That's not allowed. I don't care what side you're on. I'm not having that on the channel. That's not how we have intelligent discussions, because I'm trying to build a community of intelligent people, which gets me to the next couple of comments that aren't very intelligent. So Rico Aztec 1 said, all those rules about what not to post or how to post are the exact same reasons why you guys love Trump. Okay. I think this is maybe a 19-year-old, one of these Trump deranged syndrome type of people, maybe, who can't really say anything substantive, and that comment didn't even make any sense. So I came back and kind of made it clear I don't love Trump, and he does have a brazen, uncontrolled personality, might be a narcissist, but your comment doesn't make any sense. And however, I vote based on the specific values of a candidate and the policies. That's what I want to keep it to. So you can go on and read the rest of this. Now, the next statement comes from Nunya7297. Now, she's been around before and has a tendency to make comments like this, and I've already warned her once before. Say something intelligent. Let's say some intelligent things. So she said, Kamala's kicking his ASS and he will lose in 2024. Okay. So let's see. Somebody laughed at that, which I thought was funny. And I said, let's go ahead and not use that kind of language. I think I've warned you before, so this is my last warning. If you can't post a meaningful comment based on fact, policies, or educated opinions, I think we need to part ways. In other words, I don't even want to get her started. I don't want to encourage her to start running her yap, saying the crazy things that she had mentioned on the previous one. Let me jump into the comments and see what some of you people are saying. We've got Yukon Flat in the house from Canada. Yay! All right, all the way from Whitehorse, Yukon, Canada. Thank you very much for being here, and I do have new Tiffany videos coming soon. John QQ says, we have to be extremely careful of those in office or running for office whose values are truly not of ours. Too many of them have sold out to others' interests financially to stay in office, and that's true. You're right about that. I mean, to get to the point where you're at the top of a party in office, you really have you've been bought for a price, because we know that it takes hundreds of millions of dollars to get somebody in office. The Democrats have raised, $500 million. Republicans aren't as good as raising as the Democrats, but it's like, maybe $100-200 million. And I'm telling you what, that money means you owe me when you get into office. The special interest groups, the lobbyists, big pharma, corporations, BlackRock, investment firms. That means you owe me when you get into office, and I want some payback. That's why I'm spending that money. So we do certainly have to be careful about that. John QQ is absolutely positively right about that. Let's go back and check out the previous poll. So let's jump down here, hit a little refresh, see if we can get some other madness. By the way, we've got 464 votes, 72% for Trump, 17 Harris, undecided is at 11%. This video is going to be good about Lacey. You're going to like it. Everyone missed this post. I want you to go back. I only have like 2 views on this post. It didn't get served out there. But I want you guys to look at what was going on with the Harris campaign calling Trump a chicken. I have a video by Officer Tatum where he talked about the difference between how BSNBC, or was it Comedy News Network, and Fox Snooze had reported on this topic. So go back and look at that and tell me what you think. Okay, so here's the whack-a-troll comment, and then here's the previous poll. Let's click on the previous poll. No, that's not the previous poll. This was when I was going off about the ridiculousness going on in the comments of the previous poll. So the previous poll had 1,100 votes. It was 68% Trump, 24% Harris. And man, we had some diabolical comments, 197 comments going on in that thread. Oh boy, it was something. But then the next post where I talked about the ridiculousness, man, there's some gold in here. You need to jump in here and check it out. Brian's Welding had jumped in. He was the one who gave me the idea of the wacky lib game. But there was some people that I wanted to highlight, like Mean New Yorker, who is a Democrat with conservative-leaning views. We have intelligent conversations, even though we might disagree on certain things. I really like this person, okay? We had just such pleasant discord, talking back and forth. We have a person who you can go back and check out, the Hi Nikki 8747. This one, she gets Troll of the Year. Yay! Troll of the Year. This Nikki person just wants to keep up mess and gaslight. So basically insult me and then come back and say I haven't said one mean thing, and just goes back and forth, goes bananas. I tried to find common ground and it just didn't work, so I kind of just ignore Nikki now. She gets completely ignored. Let's see if I can scroll down and find. Okay, Smooth B So Philly. Smooth B, I was trying to set you as a moderator and I can't get your account to pull up in my community tab, so please get back to me on that. Now, let's go to the previous poll, and I'm going to show you another individual who should be commended for such great discussion that is a Democrat. Now, example of a bad one is Kim Ridley. You Trump supporters, cult followers, still drinking the Kool-Aid, wake up. Boy, that was intelligence right there, just screaming. Let's see if I can scroll down and find the discussion. I think it was in one of the argument threads where one of my friends, who I really like his viewpoints, he's a Democrat. I think it's in this thread, one of the Hi Nikki ridiculous threads here. Let's scroll down. This is a good one. If you want to see some serious drama, go read this one. It's good. She was getting into it with a lot of people here. Shout out to Patriot Chick. Yay! Thank you for standing up for me in this one. It wasn't that thread. Kevin Clausen, that's the one. I'm going to give Kevin Clausen a round of applause. Kevin Clausen, I appreciate you. Kevin Clausen is someone who is a Democrat that I will discuss or argue with on any day because we have intelligent discussions, arguments, disagreements, whatever. We can talk. He's open-minded, I'm open-minded, and we don't call names and act stupid and, have the normal back and forth ridiculousness. Okay? Some of the comments in here also that I thought were good. We've had some good ones. See, here's the Nunya, not a legit poll, which is so stupid. I'm like, this is a poll of my community. Why isn't that legit? We can't speak our opinion? So go read that thread. It's a good one. And then the troll Nikki had to jump into this one and insert her 2 cents and make a fool of herself. There's several others where Nikki jumps in and is just getting in the middle of everything, gaslighting and stirring up trouble. But one thing I have brought up or noticed in the comments is that we still see people who are against Trump using the talking points that have been debunked. Kamala Harris embarrassed herself with her X post where she lambasted Trump for using the cemetery as a political campaign tool. And then the families came out and blasted Kamala and said, hey, we actually invited the president ourselves. Back off. And in fact, the only truthful thing you said was that we can't have a president that does not support the military. And the lady said, so you should step down, Kamala, because you and President Biden never once reached out to any of the Gold Star families, never once expressed condolences, never once showed up at any of our yearly memorials. And Donald Trump is here with us, and he feels us. I thought that was interesting. And then the other argument about Trump is chicken to debate. Where is that coming from? Donald Trump's like, okay, hot mics, no hot mics. I don't care. Whatever. Let's just get the debate on. Hey, Patriot Chick is in the house.
Yay!
What is up, Patriot Chick? Glad you are here on the live. We've only got 10 people watching. This is a nice, calm one. On that last live stream I did, holy cow, there was like a couple hundred people. Comments were going crazy. We had trolls. It was ridiculous. I don't know from one day to the next why it seems that, you'll have a pile of people and other times you don't. But as far as I can tell, unless Studio is reporting this wrong, we only have 10 people that are concurrently watching this live stream. Yeah, that is correct. Only 10 people. So this is easy to manage. I don't mind reading the comments and trying to keep up with the conversation when we only have a few people. This is nice. When there's a couple hundred, I can't control it, and that's where I have to have the mods step in and help me to keep things under control. Okay, Patriot Chick, you are going to be helping me on the next live stream. I was going to ask you if you would help moderate. Let's see. Yukon Flat, I did read that comment. I did miss this one. Low info voters. Yeah, that's true. Low information voters, the ones who are triggered by the emotions and never discuss issues based on fact, based on policies. So, yeah, Mr. Trump is definitely not a chicken. I don't know where that's coming from. I don't know. I'm thinking that we're either going to see Kamala really do well and that she's doing a rope-a-dope, Muhammad Ali style, where she's waiting to let it all come out, in the debate, or she's going to embarrass herself. And right now, I don't have the confidence to believe that she's going to do herself any favors during the debate. I'm afraid for her in that regard. She does not speak outside of script. She doesn't speak eloquently off the top of her head. If you compare her to somebody like Vivek Ramaswamy, she doesn't have that capability. If you compare her to Tulsi Gabbard, I don't know how she ended up here, what the Democrats were thinking, allowing her to be at the top of this ticket, not Tulsi Gabbard. Tulsi Gabbard runs circles around anyone that
could have come forward in the forefront of the Democratic Party. Grandpa Leroy says, for me, it's my personal schedule that prevents my interaction. Yeah, it's hard. My personal schedule is crazy too. I stay very busy. I have 5 businesses and I take care of my elderly mother, so I don't have a lot of time to live stream, and I can't even schedule them, brother. It's hard. But anyway, the debate is going to be interesting, guys. It's going to be interesting. And after calling Trump a chicken and then complaining about wanting to change the rules, I'm thinking she's going to back out. She doesn't like the muted mic thing. Because if you look back at the debate between her and Pence, she really used that whole, excuse me, I'm trying to speak, Mr. Pence. She was using that to her advantage. If you have a muted mic, you can't use that method. So she can't go with the whole Trump is unhinged thing if his mic is muted. And I think that without that ability to make him look stupid, very funny, Sydney. My daughter is here calling me by my first name. Okay, you get a slap for that, Sydney. I thought it was interesting, though, complaining about the rules after calling Trump a chicken. Mr. Doperman says she will absolutely back out. Yeah, I think it's going to happen. I don't think she's going to go through with this. After watching her on the phone running up the stairs to the plane and she's got the headphones plugged in, that was the dumbest thing I've ever seen. To pretend like you're on the phone, but you got the headphones plugged in and you're holding the phone to your ear. Sorry, Kamala, you just made yourself look stupid. Yeah. Patriot Chick says that her accent changes at every rally. Yeah, it does. Usually, Kamala Harris talks like this, kind of, pretty girl, teenager, whiny, sorority girl, And then she tries to put on a fake black accent, kind of like how Hillary Clinton did. Remember when Hillary Clinton did that whole reading of the song, I don't feel no ways tired, which was the worst thing in history. So she kind of sounds like Hillary Clinton who's trying to do a black accent. Hello, God's fancy girl. Yay! Glad to have you here. It's like, come on, just be yourself, Kamala. Don't do that. Please don't do that. I like Kamala. I think she's okay. I think she's a little confused. And okay, she's Indian. She's Irish. She's Hindi. She's got a drop of Jamaican. She grew up in Canada. She went to an HBCU. She's an AKA. There's a lot of different cultural things pulling her from the left to the right to up and down. And I think because of that, she feels the need to be a chameleon. I wonder if she speaks to Indian people, if all of a sudden Kamala starts to speak like an Indian. Now, that would come off so racist. I dare you, Kamala, to go and speak to an Indian crowd and turn on a completely Indian accent and even put the dot on your forehead. All right, that's racist, man. That's totally racist. But hey, why not? Why not? I mean, if you can go Rachel Dolezal, who is a complete Caucasian that became black, curled her hair, and even became the head of the NAACP chapter in in Seattle. How are you any different? How are you any different? When you jump from making your Indian claims to now you're black and you're washing greens in a bathtub. Tell you what, here's the funny thing. Think about this, guys. Growing up and being black in a white town and going to an all-white school and even a high school, I did not want or ever brag to my friends about collard greens and eating chitlins. Okay, why? Because, I was being
made fun of and being called racist names and stereotypical things like that. And I was trying to blend in with the white folks. So I didn't go to school bragging about how we wash collard greens in a tub. So like, in my experience, most black people, when around white people, we don't like bring up collard greens and chitlins to prove we're black or to show out, to show people that we're black. I don't do that ever. You will never see me like starting a conversation and bragging about collard greens so I can prove to people that I'm black. I don't need to prove that. Okay? I mean, even though I'm a little light skinned, I'm on the high yellow end of the spectrum. Grew up in a traditionally black family. Like, I'm an FBA, foundational black American. And Kamala's coming up with this stuff that, to boast about greens to make her seem black. She's an AKA. At least she doesn't wear that on her shirt, on her sleeve. I like that. She doesn't lean on the sorority shield. So that's good for her for not doing that. What was the other thing that she does? Putting on the black scent. There was one other thing that she did. Yeah, my daughter says, being called an Oreo on many occasions, but not responding with a nah, I eat chitlins. Yeah, we just don't do that. We're not going to come and brag to white people that we eat chitlins. Number one, we don't. My parents did, but from me on down, me and my kids, no, we're not chitlin eaters. But we're just trying to fit in, man. So you're not going to see me running around bragging about I eat collard greens. I don't do that. Oh, Kwanzaa. Okay, let's talk about Kwanzaa. I grew up in a black Baptist family, a Christian family, and my father was a black Baptist minister. My grandfather was a black Baptist minister. My great-grandfather was a black Baptist minister. My grandfather and my father told me at a young age when I first heard about Kwanzaa, because I didn't even hear about it until like high school or, early adulthood. I didn't know what a Kwanzaa was, but it was nothing that I was ever exposed to, right? And I'm 57. But my dad told me Kwanzaa is not a Christian principle. It's not Christian, period. Okay, and it's not even African. It was made up in the 60s by, the movement, the African roots movement here in the United States. It's not FBA culture. I can't tell you one person in my family that grew up celebrating Kwanzaa. Now, my brother-in-law celebrates Kwanzaa proudly, but it's not something he did growing up. My wife didn't celebrate Kwanzaa. And so here you got Kamala, who grew up in Canada. You got an Indian mother, an Irish, Hindi, Jamaican dad. Why are you talking about you grew up celebrating Kwanzaa? That, I'm sorry, is a lie. It's a lie because Kamala's older than me. So what the hell did she know about Kwanzaa? Come on, man. That, I'm sorry, is an outright lie. She's lying. So I'm not going to be running around with an Africa hat on and, the Africa emblem that we used to run around with in the early 80s. I'm not doing all that stuff to try to prove that that I'm black. I don't have to prove that. I don't get involved in that. Y'all better thank a union. Her black accent sucks anyway. I mean, she completely sounds like Hillary Clinton. I'm sorry. She totally sounds like Hillary Clinton. I'm disgusted with it. I am. And it irritates me. I don't like the way she talks because she has that whiny voice. And then she always does this. You notice when she makes a point that we can be great things if we're unburdened by what has been. Or, if people would have a joy, a joy in leading and not, the true mark of a leader is not who we beat down, but who we build up. And she does that. She looks like she should be like on Romper Room, man. She looks like she should be on a children's channel. She's all, yeah, that's good. Unburdened by what has been. That little head nod, it kills me. It totally kills me. But anyhow, that's neither here nor there. That's just
my opinion, and some of that stuff has come up in some of the chat and the discussions, but I do find her to be quite disingenuous. But after what she pulled on X, I think that's not doing her any favors, and it could be the one thing. Oh yeah, the let me be clear. Yeah, on the X post, she said, let me be clear. Oh, that was a major, major fail. Oh man, what a fail to say, let me be clear, we can't have a president that doesn't support the military. And then the families come back and said, well, yeah, then you need to step down because you've never once reached out to us. That was so bad. Oh, that's not doing her any favors. That burned her. I don't understand why her and Biden have never reached out to the families. I think they're too ashamed and the guilt is too high that the failed exit from Afghanistan cost those families their sons and daughters. And so they probably can't even conceive of calling them on the phone and being held accountable for that. John says her best friend is a big glass of wine. Yeah, and all she does is cackle. She's laughing about everything. Yeah, un-Biden this. Yeah, un-Biden this. Yeah. Holy smokes. It is interesting that it appears that she is drunk every time she is making a public appearance. And that goofball that she chose as a running mate, who has a DWI on his record. I mean, birds of a feather flock together. There are things that man has done, the vice presidential pick, that are unspeakable. And if you do your research, you'll find out. He did a stunt, probably something on a dare. It's one of the most vile, disgusting things I've ever heard in my life. And it is printed in the newspaper and it's in the archives. And if you read it, I don't care what party you support, you would not ever think twice about voting for this individual. It's sad. It's very sad. I, for one, am looking forward to the debate. I think the debate is going to be it. There's no hiding after that debate. The CNN interview was enough. You know, even though they edited it out and they were very gentle with her, they did ask questions twice when she wasn't answering. It wasn't a good look. She didn't say, this is what I'm going to do on day one. She was just given the overall idea of what she wants to do in office. She didn't say, I'm going to sign an executive order and shut down border illegal immigration, something like that. She never answered the questions. Now, I'd like to know if you would like me to do a video on illegal immigration and the ridiculousness of it and how we are being gaslit and lied to. Interestingly, as we have 11 million people here in the last 3.5 years, with the most open border in the history of this country, why is it that the Biden administration claims that they couldn't control that? But then all of a sudden, a couple weeks ago, Biden makes an executive order that cuts down the number by what, 60, 70%? And why is it that for 3.5 years, while these millions of people are coming in and being bussed all over the country, if they're in Texas and they're getting on a bus to be shipped out, they're right there. Hello? Why couldn't they send that bus back around to the other side of the border? Or take it to a detention camp? They've been on the bus. And plus they know where every bus arrives. In Chicago, in Denver, in New York City. They're all there. And then they even build and pay for the shelters, so they're there. They know where they are. Why do they act like they can't do anything? How has it been allowed for the situation to go so far as to have, the Venezuelan gang that takes over an apartment complex where they have outgunned the police. The police in that local town are not going to respond because they're outgunned. The state police aren't doing anything. The governor's not doing anything. In my opinion, this is time for the feds to jump in. We're talking ATF. We're talking FBI, National Guard. This is where the feds intervene. We have a takeover by thugs from a very dangerous gang. And the Biden administration is watching it all happen and doing nothing.
And now we've got the Hells Angels stepping up and saying that they are about to roll up on these fools and take care of the situation. And it's sad that it's come to that, but I say allow the Hells Angels to go in and do what they want. And I'll bet you if the Hells Angels go in there and take care of business, who do you think the government legal system's going to go after? Are they going to go after the immigrant gang members, or are they going to go after the Hells Angels? You answer that question. You answer that question. Yeah, God's fancy girl, Nancy Pelosi and Kamala are birds of a feather. Yeah, they are wine buddies. They're so drunk, they don't know up from down. I mean, they're in a drunken stupor practically every day. Practically every day. And Nancy's getting worse by the minute. Public Ops TV is in the house.
Yay!
Okay, so Public Ops, you did a poll 2 weeks ago and had Trump at 52%. Kamala doing a great job. Yeah. How many people did you have on that poll, Public Ops? That must have been a big poll. I'm thinking you're a much bigger channel than me, I do believe. Correct me if I'm wrong. But I'm thinking that you probably had a lot more respondents, because I think my poll is not as accurate, which is interesting because I thought the majority of the people on my channel are Democrats because of building an audience based on South Chicago centered around the Dalton saga. But that's not the case. You know, we're sitting here looking at, the 72% there. I can change my background, by the way. We can go to the other background since I'm done talking about that and I'm just chit-chatting. So let's go back over here to this nice artwork. But let me know, Public Ops TV. I'm curious just to know how many people participated in your poll. All right, so Eric Weinstein said the unburdened line is straight out of Mark's writings. That's interesting, Brian. I'm going to do some research into that. Thank you for sharing that, because that, I believe, to be a hypnotic statement that is being used and repeated to brainwash people and to put them in a trance, to override logic and reason, and to insert those beliefs that a person would normally reject. I'm going to do a whole video on that and show you how she uses hypnotic language and mannerisms when speaking, along with the nonsense statements like unburdened from the crap that has been, whatever it is. I'll do a video on that. Remind me about that, and I will. Let me read through the rest of these comments, and I got to get moving here. Caroline's in the house. Hi, Caroline.
Yay!
Thank you very much. Now, to the large crowd of 14 people who are here, I expect and ask everyone to go and subscribe right now to the Bottom Line with Caroline, because she has an excellent channel. She was my understudy. One of these days, you're not going to be able to even be seen when she's doing a live stream, because she's going to be like Megyn Kelly. She's going to be huge, and there's going to be thousands of people in her chats. But I want you to go and subscribe. She has some excellent live screams. Some of them are a scream. But anyway, I'm glad to have Caroline. Caroline always has my back. Thank you, Caroline. What else do we have here? Yeah, the piano bar is kind of nice. I put this calm music on so I could read through the comments of the radical extreme lunatics in the chat of the polls to keep people calm. Yeah, it is working, Grandpa Leroy. It keeps me calm too. I might, use this on many future live streams because it is very, very peaceful. Listen to the sound of the peaceful piano. It's so enjoyable. It makes us want to paint fluffy little clouds. Fluffy little clouds. Public Ops TV, 252 votes? Wow. Well, that's interesting because yours is more accurate than mine. When we jump over, if you look at Polymarket, I believe to be one of the most accurate. Oh my gosh, Kamala's tanking. Kamala's tanking, guys. Donald Trump is at 53%. Kamala's at 46%. This is the biggest spread that I've seen on Polymarket, the betting website. It's a done deal. And like I said, that CNN interview and then that stunt she pulled on X, that for those of you who support Kamala Harris, I feel your pain because she didn't do you any favors with those actions. That was bad. This is going to be a runaway. And Fannie, oh my God, I saw that. God's fancy girl, Fannie and Nathan Wade. Oh my God. Nathan, the boyfriend, is still at her side. She shows up when her daughter gets pulled over for driving with a suspended license and talking on her cell phone. And she's got a previous DWI. This is the lady who's trying to convince us that Donald Trump is a felon and RICO charges, right? But she's stealing money from the state and spending federal money that's supposed to be given for RAPE kits and different things and for youth on swag and all sorts of other things. Yeah. And paying a boyfriend who got pulled off the case, $250 an hour, spending nearly $700,000. This is the same lady who's trying to convince us that Trump is the convicted felon, right? That makes sense. But yeah, Fannie Willis and Nathan. Nathan was right there. In fact, the cop said, you got to go watch the footage of that. The camera footage, the police cam, whatever you call it. And Nathan walks up and the officer is like, okay, who are you folks? Is this mom and dad? I was like, oh, that's bad. But she's lying, talking about Nathan Wade's just the good, close friend. That was interesting. Yeah, and Biden, where is Biden? Yeah, on vacation. Thank you, Patriot Chick. It's going to be my new background for general discussions on the elections. I made some new artwork for that. So at any rate, there's a lot of things you guys are going to have to keep on me. In fact, I will post a poll on the community tab, and then I want you to vote on the poll about topics. And then I want you to post and remind me of the things I mentioned here and hold my toes to the fire. Don't let me forget about doing the videos that I mentioned here today. Okay. So this has been a nice, quaint little live stream with just 15 of my closest friends. 15 of my closest friends who I appreciate, love you all because you're fantastic people. And I have enjoyed our time. I almost feel like going into song like Mr. Rogers. I'm so glad we had this time. Or no, that's Time Together. That was Carol Burnett. Oh my God, I sang the wrong song. How does Mr. Rogers song? I'm gonna have to look that up. And on the next stream, I will sing the Mr. Rogers song for you. So that's all I've got today. Round of applause for you. I thank you for being here, and I will see you all very soon. This is Carlton, and I am